So hello everyone, happy Monday. So wonderful to see you. So glad to have you join us today for our virtual Lunch and Learn Storyline in Less Time. We have our wonderful presenter, John Morley, and I will hand it over to him in just a moment. Just wanted to review a couple upcoming events that we have. So later this week, on 9/17, which is Thursday at 6 p.m., we have a members only mixer and trivia. So we'll be having in our mixer a conversation around lifelong learning and then have a fun trivia game. We have lots of giveaways to give out and prizes and some gift cards and some ATD stuff. So please join us. This is to celebrate Member Week and to thank you for your membership with our chapter. Next week on Thursday, 9/24 at 6 p.m., we have our professional virtual mixer, which we do. It's open to everybody and a great way to network and meet with other L&D professionals or talent development professionals. And on 9/29 at 3 p.m., we have a webinar around how to create an effective 360 assessment. So two very skilled and talented facilitators to guide you through using the right tools and how to create the best assessment you possibly can. So I will be putting in the chat the link to our calendar so that you can look there and please register for our events. If you have any questions throughout the program or throughout the presentation, please feel free to put them in the chat. John will talk about that a little bit more. I'm the producer, the person handling the chat. Without further ado, I introduce you to John Morley, who is an instructional designer with Pro Unlimited at Genentech.
Hey, thank you, Gwen.
You're welcome.
And the other phrase for the 21st century is, can you hear me? Okay, although I have an outline to follow, I want to provide at least the option of making this more of a forum for questions and discussions and such. As Gwen said, she is my producer director and is monitoring the chat. So if you have any comments or questions, please enter it into the chat. That's the, if you're not familiar with Zoom, that's the little green button down in the bottom. Click that, a panel will open up over on the right side of the screen, and at the bottom of that panel, you can enter the chat. If it's Gwen thinks it's appropriate and it's not overly demeaning or insulting to me, she will ask me to respond, or else you can just unmute yourself and jump right in. Now, I'm assuming everyone has at least an initial familiarity with Storyline, and if possible, it would be great if you have two screens or even two computers so you can watch what I'm doing at the same time you can click along. This is definitely a click along type of presentation. Or you can probably even do that if you have two windows open or two different tabs open, any way that you prefer to do that. If you are not going to click along, this will still be a good walking tour of Storyline. I'll be showing you a Storyline 360, which is Storyline in the cloud. If you have something earlier or a Storyline 3, most of this will still apply. I'm going to follow what I call the Winnie the Pooh presentation structure, which is begin at the beginning, which is to say we're going to be starting with a new Storyline project. So please be logged into Storyline and let's get started here. I'm going to click that to go away and click this to share my screen. And let's see here. Yeah, Gwen, are you seeing this Storyline thing here with the pink thing down the left side?
Yes, I am.
Are we cool? Okay, everybody, let's click along here. Go up to the upper left-hand corner. Do you see New Project there? Let's click New Project, and here we go. Here's a new slide. Double-click the slide to get started. And Storyline lets you jump right in here and start designing your first slide, which would be complete violation of the Storyline in less time ethos, because Storyline has a lot of automated things built into it that can save you hours, if not days and weeks, if you just take a few minutes to learn how to use them. So we are going to take those few minutes right now. Basically, what I'm suggesting is you get the look and feel for the presentation out of the way first, and then that will be automatically applied to every single slide you create, saving you the effort of having to go back and manually reformat every slide. Now let's start with the overall aspect ratio of the slide. What I'm seeing now looks a little boxy, and quite frankly, it looks a little out of date. So let's go for a different aspect ratio from this 4:3. So go up to the Design tab, click Design. All the way over on the left, you see Story Size Setup. Let's click that. A little dialog box that open has Story Size at the top. Click the downward pointing arrow, and let's change that to this 16:9 aspect ratio. I also like to have a little bit higher resolution. So where it says width, let's change that to 960. If you press tab, you'll see that the thoughtful program here automatically adjusts the height for you. Now click OK, and we should see that we have a wider look here. Now let's get into design. Go up here to the View tab. We're looking at the View tab. Toward the left here, we have Slide Master. Click Master, and what you should see in the left panel is one slide master with a number of layouts that are associated. The bottom layout selected. So let's go up to the top, the slide master itself, click that. So there's a little blue outline there. And let's mess with the background here. Up on the control ribbon, I'm going to this background area. And notice that I don't particularly agree with this design feature, but there's a little downward pointing arrow in the lower corner. Click that, and some of the most useful dialog boxes in this whole darn thing are hidden in that little downward pointing arrow. In this case, you have a dialog box saying Format Background. Let's just accept the default. And here in the middle where it says Color, let's apply any old color that looks good to you. I'll select red, click Close, and notice that anything you do in the slide master is then carried down to all of the associated layouts. So I'm going to work on this top layout. Just click the top, the first layout underneath the slide master.
John, I'm going to interrupt you really quick.
Sure, please.
We just had some people that were still catching up, and I want to clarify, when you adjusted the size, you did 960?
That is correct.
Okay, so for someone who was asking for clarification, so 960. Okay, perfect.
Not 9:16, a little bit wider, the CinemaScope aspect ratio. Okay, are we good?
Yes, we had no other questions. Everyone good to keep moving along?
All righty. In this top layout, what I'm going to do is click to select the slide text. I'd like to put dark text on the light background. So let's go up to the Format tab, and about here in the middle, just to the right of the middle, where it says Shape Fill, click the downward pointing arrow, and just select any kind of background color you want. So now we have this red background with a cream-colored field in it. And let's see what we have. On the View menu, go back over here to Slide View, second from the left, and we'll see that we now have a big red rectangle here. Go up and click on the Home tab, and then over a little bit to the right, do you see Apply Layout? If you click the downward pointing arrow, you can see the layout that you just created. Click that, and that applies it to this slide. For additional slides, go up here and click New Slide again. Now we have two slides. This continues to duplicate the same slide that was up when you first clicked it. Click it again. Now we have three slides. So let's click on slide number 1 and give it a title. We'll be real creative here and call it 1. Go 2, and go to number 3. Okay, now you just did several things here. If we go up to the preview, up here on the control ribbon, you'll see that when this comes up in the player, you have automatically created a menu over here on the left, our table of contents that reflects the names of the slides that you put in there. So that saves you having to manually create that menu over and over again. Okay, now the way I think this would look a lot better if the headline header was reversed out in white and pulled over here left. The let's just put a little garbage text in here to see what this looks like. There's no space between the paragraphs. I think it needs a little more space. So to do those things on 3 different slides wouldn't take that much time. But if you had 36 slides or 300 slides, it would take a long time to do that to every single slide. So let's see how you can do that very quickly to all of them. We're going back to the View tab. We're going back to the Slide Master. Now let's click and drag across the heading for that. When the little menu pops up here, let's make that white. Let's take that over to flush left. Now we'll click on the slide text box. A couple things that you might like. It's good to have a space between the different paragraphs. So go up to the Home tab. On the Home tab, about in the middle here, you'll see where there are an arrow going up and an arrow going down. Click on that, and it says line spacing at the bottom. All the way on the bottom of that where it says before and after, let's click the upward pointing arrow twice so we have 12 points between the paragraphs. Click OK. And another thing we're going to do is make this a little bit larger. So again, we're on the Home tab over here. Let's crank up our font size to 18. And let's go to the View menu, go over to Slide View, and see what we have. Now, one other thing, very, very good suggestion. Let's go back in View to Slide Master. Again, click the slide text to select it. Now we are going to right-click, and you'll see the right-click menu all the way on the bottom. It says Format Shape. Click that. All kind of wonderfulness in here. You can have hours of fun messing around. But for right now, on the left panel, click Text Box. And in the middle of Text Box where it says Auto Fit, we want to click Resize Shape to Fit Text. Now it will, the text box will magically expand or contract to fit whatever you are typing into it. It's wonderful. Okay, click Close. Now let's click Close Master View, or else you can go up on the View tab and select tab. And this is what I was telling you. The box automatically resizes to fit the text. And look at this now. We have a space between the different paragraphs. I'll copy this, Control C, and just paste it into the other slides here. So now I'm not exactly sure why that did not. Let's reapply the. Okay, there we go. So what we have now is all 3 in that one action. We reformatted not only all 3 slides here, but every additional slide that you put in here. Now, you may be thinking, I just spent hours getting the look and feel right for something else. Why can't I just use that? The answer is you can. Just sit back and watch for a moment, or if you have an existing PowerPoint presentation or Storyline presentation you want to experiment with by bringing it into this, feel free. By going up to the Slides tab immediately under the word Slides, you see Import. Click Import, and this tells you you can import either a PowerPoint presentation or a Storyline presentation. I'm going for a Storyline because I have a ringer set up here. Oh, I'm not in the right thing. Let's see, where am I? ATD, Storyline Workshop. You'll see I have a ringer set up here. Number 1 is triggers. So I'm going to click that. You can see the 3 slides you're going to add here. at the very bottom of the dialog box, I'm going to click here and select to add to the current scene. So they'll all be in a straight line. Click import. Look what happens. Over here on the left panel, we have these 3 new slides. Not only do they appear there, if we go up to the View tab and go over to Slide Master, look at this. All of the layouts that were associated with what I brought in are now available to you. So if you go back to one of these slides that we created, you can go up to we're on the Home tab here, apply layout, and you can apply the layouts from the presentation that you brought in. I will do a Control-Z to get out of that. And let's take a look at what we brought in here. First one is my title slide, better late than never. And then we're going to talk about triggers. Triggers are a portal to interactivity. What does that mean? All right, that means you can create navigation things, you can show and hide shapes, and you can control media. Let's start with the navigation. I'll go up, now you can click along again. We're in slide number 1. By default, the system puts a previous and next button there for the learner to click. But let's say you want to give the learner the option to jump to slide number 3. So the triggers, you need a trigger to do that. Let's take a look at triggers. In the upper right-hand corner, you see the word trigger, and under that we have a number of little tools. The first one being create a new trigger. Now look below that, you'll see that it automatically gives you the triggers for what I just said. The next button and the previous button are automatically added for you. But I'll go up to the tool menu here where it says create a new trigger. Click that. Triggers ask you 3 things. Do what, with what, when. So the do what is action, and it automatically puts jump to a slide. If we click that, it'll give you a pick list here of all of these wonderful things you can do with a trigger. Everything up here is navigation, and then you can control media and a whole bunch of other stuff here. But what we want to do is jump to a slide. So do what? Jump to a slide. With what? Click next slide, and this shows all of the slides currently in your presentation. We want to go to slide number 3, so click 3. And now when do we want to do that? So we'll click when timeline starts and change that to user clicks. User clicks in any shape you have, any existing shape can be clickable, but we want to click when we have we haven't created a button yet. Okay, leave text box selected and click OK. So this saves the trigger up here, ready for us to create a button, a navigation button. Now, any shape that you create can be turned into a button, a clickable object. But I'm going to suggest that you go to the Insert tab here, down toward the right here, almost all the way to the end, you see Interactive Objects. And here you have Input. Click the downward pointing arrow, and you can import something that will take in either excuse me, I'm getting a little ahead of myself. What I want to do is go over here to Button. Click the downward pointing under Button, and click any one of those 3 buttons. Click and drag to create the button, and look what happens. Up here at the top, you have a Button Tools control ribbon. And right here in the middle, if you click this downward pointing arrow, look at all those colors and shapes that you have. You can just slide over here and see your button change. Look, select any one that appeals to you. And I'll just call this slide 3, so we know where we're going. And go back up to the ribbon and go all the way over on the left, and here with all the arrows, click the downward pointing arrow and look at all this wonderfulness here. We have all these little icons that can be added. Since this is a navigational thingy, I'll just grab the compass rose, add the compass rose, and now we have slide 3. So we'll leave that selected, go back over to the trigger that was already created. Now to edit that, go up to the universal symbol for editing, which is a pencil. Click the pencil. Now do what? Jump to slide. With what? Slide 3. When user clicks, we don't want the text box, we want button number 1. Okay, click that.
John,
yeah.
Got a request. Can you go back to where you located the trigger option?
The trigger option. Okay, select the trigger. Up here it says jump to slide 1.3, and on the top of the tools, right underneath the word trigger, is a pencil. You hover over the pencil, it says edit the selected trigger. And that opens up the dialog box. Is that what was needed? Are we cool?
Bridget, did you get that?
Are we good?
Oh, hold on. I think she...
Can you hear me?
Oh, yes, we can hear you now.
Yeah, that's totally fine. Like, I just am not seeing the keys on your screen, but that's okay. I'll check the recording.
Okay. What are you not able to see on the screen?
I just couldn't see where you set up like this whole passage. It's totally okay. I didn't know if it was just down in the lower toolbar where like timeline states and notes are, because I wasn't seeing your cursor move at all. I didn't want you to just re-explain it either. So it might just be my technology. So no worries.
Are you seeing the cursor move around now? I'm on the red field here moving back and forth.
Yes, I am.
Oh, okay, good. So I'm going to click the OK button. And now let's try this out. So I go up to the preview up here on the ribbon, click preview, and we'll see what happens. Okay, we're on slide number 1. Here's the button that you've created. We'll click that, and it takes us to slide 3. We'll go back to slide 1, slide 3, and now you have created a navigation device here. I'll close the preview, go back to the slide, and what else can we do with triggers? We can show and hide stuff. This is exciting. And look what happens over here on the panel. This shows you that by adding that navigation feature, you can now go from slide number 1 to either slide 2 or 3. If you click on Story View, this gives you the same information, just a little bit larger, letting you see the results of your triggers. Go back to, I'm going to double click on this slide to open it up. Now, show and hide are two different things. So we're going to need things to show and hide. I'm going to select this text and get rid of it. I'm pressing the delete key. Press the delete key again. And let's create a shape. Go up to the insert menu. Over here under shape, just arbitrarily grab any old thing that you want. And here is another way to save time. Good graphic design incorporates consistency. So you will probably want all of the shapes you create to conform with a very limited number of appearances. So let's get this shape the correct color that you would want. Go up to the Format tab, click that, and again you see a bunch of little options here where you can select different looks and colors and shading and whatever. So we'll get the shape fill correct. Now let's go to the outline, and you can add an outline to this if you prefer. Click outline again, and you can set the weight, the size of that outline. Now let's another tip for saving time. Anything you create that use more than 2 or 3 times, give it a meaningful name. So in this case, we want this to be shape number 1. Go down here on the timeline, and let's call that shape 1. Brilliance of this will be shown in just a moment. 1 is a little small there, so let's select 1 and pump that up to 18 is a good number for today. Okay. Now, in order to have your other shapes follow along the same look and feel, right-click this shape about 2/3 of the way down, maybe 4/5 of the way down, but toward the bottom, see Set as Default Shape. If you click that, nothing appears to happen. But if you go to the Insert menu, Insert tab, we're on the Insert tab again, going over to Shape, let's grab another shape, anything you want, click and drag, and lo and behold, that shape looks just like the other shape that you had formatted. So no longer do you have to manually change the formatting of every single shape you create. It already knows what to do. So let's call this 2. Look, it follows the same font size and color. And to follow my advice, we're going to go down here to the timeline and give this object a meaningful name, which is shape 2. All right. Now, show and hide are two different things. Let's repurpose this button. I'll just click and drag, put it up a little bit further. Since we are showing these things, these are visible already, the first trigger we'll create is something that will hide them.
We have a question, John.
Yeah.
Will it also copy the shape states?
Shape states. Let's see. Okay, I'm clicking to select shape number 1. We'll go to states here, and it has only one state. So I don't know if it would or not. I'm pretty sure it does, but I can't tell from right here. Oh, well, let's give it a different, yeah, just take a moment to do that. Let's see, initial state, how do we, okay, edit states, add a state, new state, hover, add, okay, we'll change that. Let's go up now, click timeline, we'll click right menu, set as default shape, click 2, go to states, and it did not copy the state. So the answer to that is no. That's disappointing, but that is what we have to work with. Okay, back to show and hide. What we want to do first is when button, let's rename the button 1. And now when button 1 is pressed, we want 2 to be hidden and 1 to show. So let's hide shape number 2. Go over here to the trigger, click the pencil again, and click do what with what when are two questions here. No longer do we want to jump to a slide. Now to show and hide objects, what you're really doing is you're changing the state. So click change state of, and we want to change the shape of. Here's where it's so helpful to give meaningful names to things that you created. So we want to hide shape number 2. We want to change its state to hidden when the user clicks button number 1. Click that. Okay. Now we can copy that button, Control C, Control V, and we have another button here. We'll call that button number 2.
Another question, John.
Oh, what do we have?
Where's the trigger wizard? Bridget still doesn't see where you go to grab it.
Okay. Click the right under where it says triggers. This first icon is create a new trigger, and it automatically takes you into the trigger wizard. Is that clear?
I am muting you, Bridget.
Yeah.
Oh, we can't hear you, Bridget.
Me. I hear you, John, but for some reason I just don't see any of that on my screen. Is it up in the ribbon where you see the trigger wizard?
No. Do you see this panel over on the right that says triggers at the top?
Maybe that's it. Maybe your video is covering it. Aha, there you go. Problem solved. Sorry about that. See, I'm looking at your face and I'm over, you are hiding the triggers. Thank you so much.
Wait, get out of the way. Come on. Just gumming up everything. Just because you're my producer director doesn't mean you can hog the screen. Okay, so what we are doing now is we have a second button here. Let's click that. And it pops up here. Now there is a shortcut way to change things here. As you move your mouse along here, you see things underlined, the do what, would what, when. So what we want to do here is change the state of, that's good, do what, but the with what, we have to change. So click the little underline and look at that. You get access to all of these things that can be hidden. So let's select shape 1. So do what, change state of what, shape 1 to hidden when user clicks button number 2. So far so good. Let's see what we have here. We'll go up to the preview, downward pointing arrow under preview, select this slide. Now we should be able to hide those things. Click 1 and 2 is hidden, click 2 and 1 is hidden. We're halfway there to show and hide. Now we want to show things. So let's click the button 1 again, and we'll open what we were just discussing, create a new trigger. Click that. Now do what? We want to change the state of shape number 1 to normal. Normal means you're able to see it when the user clicks button number 1. Okay. Now that we've already created that trigger, we can actually use it again and repurpose it. Go back up to the little tools on the toolbar, and the third one in, if you hover over that, it says copy the selected trigger. Kind of sounds like what we want to do. And then next to it, this button pops up, which allows you to paste that trigger. So let's go down to this trigger. Let's click the pencil this time to see the trigger wizard. And what we want to do is we want to change the state of shape 2 to normal when user clicks button number 2. Click that. Let's take a look at over here. Show, we're going to show shape 1 to normal when we press button 1. Show shape 2 to normal when we press button number 2. So we hide 1 and show 1. Here we hide 1 and show the other one. So let's go up to the preview. Downward pointing arrow, click this slide. Click this slide. 1, we show 1. 2, we show 2. Click 1, we show 1. Click 2, we show 2. So now you have created buttons or triggers to show and hide stuff. What else can be done with triggers? Let's see here. Control media. This is a good one. We'll go up to one of the other slides that you've created. I'll just select that and delete it to get rid of it. Now, we need some media to control. Go up to the Insert tab. If you're using in the cloud version of Storyline, or Storyline 360, you'll have access to just a wonderful amount of stuff here. I'm going to select videos, or if you have a video on your hard drive that you want to experiment with, feel free. Click videos. San Diego's kind of a beach town, so I'll just type beach in here. Press enter, and look at all the videos that you have available. Here's a nice short one here, 7 seconds, so I'll double click that. And then resize it. Just grab one of these handles in the corner to resize. Now we need a button to operate that. We know how to create buttons now. We go over to the trigger, whoa, oh, excuse me, we have to first insert the button. So go over to the Insert tab. We're clicking the Insert tab. Over here, about 2/3, we have the button option. We click a button, click and drag to create the button. And let's just call that video. Over here on the, or up here on the ribbon, click the downward pointing arrow there. And let's find a meaningful icon. Just click the play icon there, and you see that comes up there. Now let's program that trigger here. Click create a new trigger, and do what? We want to play media here. A little bit down, you see where it is on the pick list. With what? Video 1, it automatically selects that for us. When the user clicks button number 1. Okay, and if you click button number 1, notice that an outline pops up around these things as you select them. So it helps you know what you're selecting. Button number 1, click OK, and we will go up to the preview. Click downward pointing arrow, click this slide, and let's see. Up and oh goodness, the video is playing automatically. But when you click the video, it plays it again. So this is not really what you want to happen. You want the video, the button to come up, and then when you click the button, the video would come on, which leads us to layers. So sit and watch for a moment here while I go up to the Slides tab, click Import, and now I'll import another storyline thingy. Number 2, same layers. This shows you what we're going to add. This time we will add it as a different scene. So you'll see what happens there. We will import, and we get where'd that go? Where'd that go? Oh, it was inserted in the same scene. Anyway, okay, we'll double click that, and we get a metaphor here. We see a layer cake here, and we learn that layers add flexibility. It sounds like marketing hype to me. So what does flexibility mean? Flexibility means we can create user-triggered timelines. Kind of sounds like what we're trying to do with the video. We can create more efficient use of triggers, and we can create quiz feedback. So let's see how this works. Go back to, you can click along with me again. We'll go back to slide number 2, where we have the video, or whatever slide you put it on. Now take a look in the lower right-hand panel here toward the bottom. Do you see slide layers? You want to create a layer. Now the toolbar for layers are all the way down on the bottom here. And you see, again, it starts with a new whatever. Click the new layer, and you'll see a new layer created there. Double click in there, and let's just call that video. So now we have a layer. Click on the base layer again where the video exists. Click to select the video. Let's cut it. Control X to cut that. Go to the layer, and now Control V to put the video on the layer. And let's go back to the base layer, and now we want to repurpose this trigger. Click it, and you'll see it says play media. Let's just try repurposing it from the panel here. If you click the downward pointing thing here, you'll see you have an option at the top to hide layer. You want to show layer. Show layer video when the user clicks button number 1. Now let's see what we have here. We'll go up to preview, this slide. We don't see the video, we see the button. Click the button, And look at that. Now the video plays. The beautiful moonrise there. Now when you click the button again, nothing happens because the button was to show the layer and the layer is already showing. So what do we do if we want the user to be able to run that video again? Let's find out here. Close the preview. Let's go to you're on the base layer now. So you're not on the video layer, you're on the base layer. Let's click the button to select it, copy it, Control-C to copy. Go to the layer, and now let's Control-V to, for some reason, I didn't click the button. Okay, click the button to select it. Control-C, and now go to the video layer. Keep adding videos there. Let me try that one more time. Okay, select the button, Control-C to copy. Control. Okay, now I have the button there. I hope you're not having as much problem as I am following along. Anyway, now we have the trigger up here. Let's repurpose this where it says show video. What we want to do is maintain that. So it says show later. What we want to do is play media. Okay, so this play media, video 1, when user clicks button 1. If you like, it might be a little clearer. Let me click the pencil here. Looking at the wizard, it might be a little easier to understand what we're going to do. Play video, play media, video 1, when the user clicks the button. So let's try this out. Under preview, downward pointing arrow, the slide. There we go. Click the button and we see brings up the layer that automatically starts the video. Now when the video runs all the way through, click the button again and it runs. So now what we have are the base slide without the video, then we have the layer with the button that plays the video again. Now let's close this. Click the, stay on the video layer, click the video, and I will confess that I misled you a little bit there because you'll see when you select a video, there is a video tools tab available to you. And look what we have over here on the left. We have a play video field that allows you to play the video when it's clicked or when it's triggered by some other action. So you could have set this up where the video doesn't play until you click, but you would lose what we are trying to create here, which is a separate timeline. You see when you select the base layer, you see the video, but there is no way to coordinate anything with that timeline. Where if you go into the layer, you see the video now has its own timeline, and you can make things happen in coordination with that timeline. Let's just drop a text in there. Go to the Insert tab, about in the middle here where it says text box. Let's just click and drag here and type in ooh. I'll reverse that out in white. Control A to select everything. Go up here and select white. So I'll make that a little bit larger. Size it. Now we want to say ooh at say 2 seconds. So we'll bring that in there, make it last for a second. And because we have this on its separate layer that has its own timeline, when we go up to the preview, select the slide, click the button to bring up the layer, the video automatically starts, and you see that because we have a separate timeline for this layer, we can make things happen in coordination, time things out with the video. Let's go to close preview and see what else we can do with layers. Here are layers. Oh, this is exciting. Now that you have learned how to use triggers, let's create more efficient triggers. Again, sit and watch for a moment here. I'm going to go up to preview and preview this scene and show you a whole bunch of triggers and how to simplify triggers. Waiting for the little blue bar. Okay, now we're going to go down to choose season. This is a nice question. When is your vacation? You can choose either winter or you can choose summer. If you've chosen summer and hit next, this shows you some of the clothes you can wear in the summer. Click next, this shows you some of the gear. Go to change season, winter, click next. This shows you winter clothing, winter gear. Let's see how that's done. We'll go up to edit slide, and you remember from the triggers that to show and hide something requires 2 different triggers, right? And since this slide has 6 different images on it, 3 for winter, 3 for summer, that's 12 different triggers that someone had to program. See over here in the panel, a lot of time and effort spent doing those triggers. So how could that be done more efficiently using layers? Let's take a look at, go back to preview, go back to scene, and take a look at a different version of the same thing. Okay, jump down here to change season. You'll see a different background here, so we're in a different set of slides. Click winter. See winter clothes, see winter gear. We go to summer, we see summer clothes, summer gear. So it does the same thing, the same user experience, but let's see how that was created. Let's close and go back to the slide is completely empty except for the change season slide, but now we have layers. We have a summer layer and we have a winter layer. And oh, by the way, it's a lot easier to work on these layers when they're clean because you don't have all 6 images there. You have to manipulate. You have winter and summer are segregated. And if we click on the base layer, look what we have under triggers. Instead of 12 different triggers, we have 2 triggers, show winter, show summer. So this is a much more efficient way to create what you had seen in the presentation here. Let's see, what else can we do with triggers? You can give quiz feedback, very common use of again, just sit back and watch as I demo this. I'll go up to a preview slide. This is a pretty easy quiz question. Even I can get this one, but I'll be obstinate and I'll click 4 instead of 3. Click submit, and this is a layer telling the user that this is incorrect. You can try again. Close that. I'll select number 3. And then this is a different layer telling you that you got it right. Click continue and we go back to the base layer. What does that look like? Well, edit the slide here. And you'll see the storyline quiz feature automatically creates these 3 layers for you. This try again layer, this incorrect layer, and this correct layer. Now, this opens a whole new window of things. If you go up to the View tab and go over here, next to Slide Master, you see a Feedback Master. If you click that, this shows you the different layers you have for user feedback, whether they get it right, whether they get it wrong, whether you want to give them another opportunity. So layers are a very good way to give feedback, appropriate feedback to the learner, which brings us to variables. So let me go up to, again, just sit back and watch for a moment here. I'll go to slides, I'll go to import, I'll go to import storyline, and we'll go to variables this time. On the bottom of the thing here, let's see if I can, this is a new scene. I want to create a new scene this time. So I'll click import, you can see everything that's coming in here.
John, I want to let you know that we are approaching about 5 minutes to noon.
Oh, okay. Well,
I didn't know if you wanted to start this or if we wanted to see if there were some questions that anybody had.
Let's do that then. Let me just explain that very quickly, that variables are buckets into which you can put different types of information. And let me show you how variables were used for the, I have to preview this, preview scene. And then I'll take questions. Go down here to select season. You'll see these set winter and summer fill a variable for us. A variable is exposed by bracketing the name of the variable with percentage marks. So click summer, that variable holds summer. Click winter, it holds winter. And depending on what that variable says, that controls which layer is exposed. Okay, so this is something we can do later if there's any sort of demand for that. Variables can very easily fill an hour. I also wanted to show you one other thing. The tech support on this is very good. If you go to the Help menu and click Resources, that brings up eLearning Heroes. So any questions that you would like to ask me now, you can go to eLearning Heroes, click Discuss. On the bottom here, click Discuss Articulate Products. And here where it says New Discussion, enter a question, it'll be answered. Any questions for right now in our final 4 minutes?
Feel free to unmute yourself if you have any questions, or if you'd like to type it into the chat, whatever you're comfortable with.
Kim's lips are moving.
Kim, I think Kim's talking. We can't hear you though.
Good grief, you guys. Good grief. Okay. I said, thank you, John. I thought that was great. I'm going to go back and look carefully at the recording and really click along. It's just how I work better that way, I think. But I thought that was wonderful. And like I said, I taught for a couple of decades, and it always takes longer than you think it's going to take. I thought that was wonderful. Thank you.
Well, let me just take the opportunity to ask, would anybody be interested in doing this again to see the section on variables?
Oh yeah, variables are something I've looked at, you know, in other programs, and this one a little, and I'm still having some trouble really grasping it well. So okay. I would be interested in that. You know, the ones I've looked at, you type in code to do the variables. From my experience with Articulate, I'm going to guess that they have simplified the process, which is what they're really good at. So I would like to see that for sure, if you feel like offering it.
Sure. I'd be happy to do this again some other time. Would anyone else be interested in this? I'd be happy to do it for one person, or if more people want to learn about variables.
We had some people in the chat also that did express interest.
Okay. Let's offline here, Gwen, you and I can decide on another time and date, and we'll get into variables.
Yeah.
And can easily spend an hour on variables. Okay, any other questions before we sign off here?
John, I was just going to say thank you. And also, if you do another session, it would be great to maybe have an outline of sorts. Yeah, because you are amazing. And it would be great to be able to do a little bit more hands-on. And if we had a little bit of a roadmap, that might be a little bit more practical.
Let's see, can I attach something here? Can I send you a
You can in the chat if you
in the
click on
chat?
chat,
Okay, chat.
and then down there's the little 3 buttons in the lower right-hand corner.
Okay. Participant chat with everybody. Let's see.
Is it? Does
It says save chat. I don't see add a thingy. Yeah, I know in Google Meet you can do this.
Yes, it is a little tricky, but the other option, John, is also when we send out the email with the link for the recording, we'll send an attachment there.
Got it. Okay, I'll provide that to you then. Okay.
All right. Well, if there's no other questions, I would like to thank John so much for sharing and for, continuing. And we'll see you guys. This is a program that it sounds like there's some, everybody can kind of learn together. So that's great. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, John, and have a wonderful week. And please enjoy Member Week. Thank you for being a part of our chapter.